One, two, three, four! Greetings, this is Tom with Buncombe Shinola. Welcome to our series, Humming a Sickening Tune, where we shall be reviewing every single Ramones song in order alphabetically. Today we shall be discussing Bad Brain from Road to Ruin. With Road to Ruin, the Ramones were ready to try anything sonically in order to achieve mainstream success. More medium-tempoed, heavier material, guitar solos, smoothly produced ballads, acoustic guitars, even country tunes. They smoothed over the rough edges and maximized the bubblegum of what would become one of their signature tunes, I Want to Be Sedated, and then neglected to even release it as a single, except as an afterthought B-side. The shift was indicated in the alteration of the LP cover art, necessitated by Tommy's shift to producer and replacement by Mark Bell, who became Marky Ramone. The original, more fantasy-tinged design by Gus McDonald had its more threatening aspects minimized in a retooled image by Punk Magazine's John Holmstrom. But even this toned-down cover could be characterized as misleading for an album so substantially softened in sound, were it not for a quartet of tracks seemingly conceptualized to placate the punk purists of their audience with assertive exercises in their original style. That none of these songs achieves genuine grade A quality status, the other three being I Wanted Everything, I'm Against It, and Go Mental, remains one of the more bewildering and subtle of the album's weaknesses. And Bad Brain, by a slim margin, is perhaps the weakest of the four. 2 of 3 of the song's sections display frenzied bursts of impressive 1-4-5 changes in A, but the band shows its hand early, running through all 3 during the introduction, indicating a lack of imagination which will be present in the arrangement throughout. Despite recounting a rags to riches to rags tale, ending up on a drunken stumble through their Bowery home turf, the song suffers, like the other 3 bashers, from a lyric that reads more like a laundry list, lacking the customary economical charm of their quirky non-sequitur wit, unaided by a monotonic delivery. Towards the end, in a nod to the previous Pinhead and We're a Happy Family, they attempt a drum beat and sound effect coda fade-out, perhaps not a wise choice on an album already overloaded with single-phrase title chorus refrains. It's difficult to pin down exactly why these 4 tracks seem so slightly lacking. Perhaps it's simply that it was the first time that the Ramones' formula, seemed self-consciously formulaic. It is nonetheless exhilarating to hear the Ramones' energy matched with their best production yet, courtesy of Tommy and Ed Stasium. By no means a classic, but certainly not bad. Bad Brain is perhaps best enjoyed and assessed if you don't overthink it too much. What do I like least about this song? Well, speaking of overthinking things, I guess this is going to be the first time that what I like best and what I like least about a song are kind of the same thing. Clearly, what is best and most notable about this song is that it gave the first wave hardcore Rastafarian punk band from Washington, D.C. their name. Back in an era when the group was still gauging their success via chart placements and sales figures, this was one of the earliest and most important indicators that the true reflection of the band's unique popularity was in the inspiration that they tangibly triggered in legions of fans and future musicians, and remain one of the longest-lasting pieces of evidence to that effect, although the band did not wise up to this until it was almost too late. And what do I like least about this song? Well, I live in Austin, Texas, with some connection to the original punk scene here. And so I guess it's time to broach the Bad Brains Big Boys subject. Now, many of these surviving witnesses have grown weary of recounting this tale, and so I'll review it in the briefest possible terms. Now, the Big Boys were an Austin punk band who were led by homosexual icon and provocateur Randy Biscuit Turner. And when the Bad Brains came through town, they shared the bill, and the band was even planning on staying at the guitarist Tim Kerr's house. But a heated interaction between HR and Randy after the gig, plus a reneged-on pot deal, resulted in a startling heap of homophobic intolerance shat upon their surprised hosts. Now, perhaps this shouldn't be too surprising. Rastafarianism can exhibit some extremely strict interpretation of Scripture, and it surely must seem ludicrous at this point to look back on a time when your illusions of community in the punk scene were shattered. But this was one of the first real wounds to the seeming unity of the scene, or an early indication of the fractured factionalism which was to come. But how to bring this all back to the Ramones and perhaps look for a positive spin on this sordid tale and get some of the bad taste out of your mouth. As the punk scene began its shift into hardcore back in the day, the aggression seemed intrinsically somehow more macho. And as the overlap began with the extremes of the heavy metal scene, certainly a more pronounced jocularity rose up, and I don't mean humor. And the freedom of the scene has always been pretty forgiving with some really dastardly behavior. And I'm sure there are scores of Bad Brains fans who have been able to reconcile their music with hypocrisy or lunacy of this transgression. But as neither a huge fan of hardcore or the Bad Brains, I've not had to do this. I think I've always unconsciously charted from World Up My Ass by the Circle Jerks to the lisping theatrics of Jello and the Dead Kennedys. I've always charted a connection between the hardcore that I did like and a certain, let's say, queer friendliness. And I think this presumption of open-mindedness has its roots that go back all the way to the original New York scene. And no matter what personal conflicts have dogged the Ramones over their career, it is significant that the militaristic, mensch disciplinarian Johnny Ramone had to be coupled with the reticent, withdrawn, shy geekdom of Joey and Dee Dee's tales of male hustling on 53rd and 3rd, and that one of the most trusted career-long confidants in their circle who helped shape the band's aesthetic and who was responsible for the majority of the band's iconography was the outwardly gay Arturo Vega. From early on, the band made their manifesto of inclusion absolutely clear. We accept you. Hey, this is Tom with Buncombe Shinola. Thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe. It helps the channel. I was hoping to avoid copyright strikes, but I will put a link to the real track in the description below. And I will also include a link to Tim Kerr's blog about the Bad Brains incident. And in the comments below, please let me know what you think of this track. And let me know, I don't know, your thoughts on punk accountability. Coming up next, we'll be doing Beat on the Brat from the debut album. Talk to you soon.